This fine gentleman right here, Hunter Biden, has been convicted on all charges. Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Hunter Biden being convicted on all 3 gun charges. Now, this is a good thing. Some think it's not really enough. Some think it's a distraction because we still got quite a few crimes going on with the Hunter crime family. We know the laptop and 10 for the big guy and deals in Russia and Ukraine. We know there's some things going on there, but at least we got this. This is kind of a little bit lower on the bar, but they had to convict this guy of this. Now, basically, what he did was lie on his background check. And it's funny because I'm looking at certain articles and they're saying he lied on paperwork to obtain this gun. It's like, just say what it is. He lied on a background check. And the reason why that's important for them to say, a lot of these leftist outlets, is because they keep talking about background check, background check, background check. So, okay, if a guy lies on the background check and gets a gun illegally while being a crack smoker, which you can't do, then obviously that pokes a hole in your whole background check argument. And some say they wish that he would have got off. These are some conservatives saying this, not because they love Hunter Biden or Joe Biden, the president. It's because they say it's unconstitutional and nobody should be convicted of this. Background checks, unconstitutional. You shouldn't be kept from having your gun if you smoke crack or whatever. Now, I understand that point of view, but also the law is a law and it's got to apply to everybody. Because if he was to get acquitted here, it's not like you or I could go do that and then get acquitted. You know, they wouldn't change the law. They would just give him an exception. Just like the whole thing with the bank bailouts that we had recently. They said if you have an account with $250,000 in it or less, the FDIC will insure it. So if the bank fails, you'll get at least $250,000 of your money. But then when SVB, all these banks failed, they say, oh, no, don't worry about it. We're going to just assure all deposits. $30 million in one account, we'll assure it. But don't think that you are going to have that same ability. You understand what I'm saying? Now, there's a lot we got to get into. Let's get into the news about the specific charges he was convicted of. Also, something that people were talking about. Will Joe Biden pardon Hunter? Okay, will he pardon Hunter? Because I believe these are federal charges and he's going to go to the penitentiary. At least he should. I mean, lying on the background check, violating the Brady Act, the very law in 1993 that Joe Biden helped make law. Let's see what he says here about pardoning Hunter.
Your son Hunter is on trial, and I know that you cannot speak about an ongoing federal prosecution. But let me ask you, will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
So you said it right there. It's like, hey, have you ruled out a pardon for your son? Will you accept whatever it is? He's like, yep. So he said right there that he is not going to pardon his son. Now, do we believe it? I was seeing all type of people online saying that he's going to pardon him and drop out the race at the very end. Who knows? Anything could happen. But let's keep on going here. We got news clips to get into. Without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Good morning. We're coming on the air because there is breaking news at this hour. A guilty verdict in Hunter Biden's federal gun trial in Wilmington, Delaware. The president's son facing 3 felony counts, accused of lying at a federal form about drug use when he bought a gun in 2018, saying he was not a drug user, and prosecutors arguing he illegally had that gun for 11 days. After deliberating for about an hour on the first day, about 2 hours today, they have found him guilty on all 3 charges. Count 1.
Now, let's pause before you get into the counts. He had the gun for 11 days, and didn't he just toss it off behind a school or something in the garbage? Like, he did everything wrong. Lying on the background check, being a crack smoker, operating a weapon, and then just tossing it off, not disposing of the gun properly. He did everything wrong.
1, making a false statement in the purchase of a firearm. Guilty of count 2, making a false statement related to information required to be kept by a federal licensed firearms dealer, and guilty on count 3, possessing a firearm by a person who is an unlawful user or addicted to a controlled substance. So again, the breaking news at this hour, Hunter Biden found guilty on all 3 felony charges. Let's get right to Terry Moran.
And you see, this says the U.S. of A versus Hunter Biden, Robert Hunter Biden. So this is a Fed case. So Joe could pardon him. It's a little bit different than what Trump's going through because that's a state case in New York. But they say that Hunter is facing 25 years in the penitentiary to make big rocks to little rocks. Now, do you think he's going to do all 25? Will they go to prison at all? Will they get pardoned? Let's keep on going.
Outside the courthouse, Terry.
That's right, David. You've got it. All 3 counts, guilty as charged. About 3 hours of deliberation. 1 hour yesterday, 2 hours today. The jurors got to work, and they came through with this verdict. Each of these counts required the jurors to take into account what Hunter's defense was here, which was basically that while he had abused drugs, as he confessed in his memoir, Beautiful Things, as the jurors heard plenty of evidence about.
Really? Did we take time to plug his book? Is that what we're going to do, ABC? For real? That's crazy. Hey, man, listen. The mainstream media, they're ridiculous. They're totally out of control.
At that time, Hunter Biden said since he didn't testify, but his lawyer presented evidence that he did not feel that he was actually abusing drugs at that time and therefore was not guilty of these crimes. The jurors rejected that, guilty on all 3 counts.
Well, we have the laptop, and on the laptop, you were smoking crack while handling the firearm in question. So, I mean, come on. Although we had all these quote unquote intelligence officers talking about, oh, that's not really real, all this, that, and the third, we know that it's real.
Arrived in court just before the jury was brought in and read the verdict.
Terry, let me ask you about the show of support in the front rows of that courtroom. As we know, the First Lady, Jill Biden, they're supporting her son every day but one in this trial. Multiple members of the family and friends close to Hunter Biden, all there. We know in the closing arguments, the prosecution, well aware of that image right there in front of the jurors, saying of family members, the First Lady, the friends who had gathered, essentially, that does not matter here.
No, it don't matter. Like, what they going to do? I mean, at the end of the day, you can have your mama, your grandmama, your pawpaw, brother, sister, aunts, uncles, cousins, whoever, random friends. You can have anybody come to the court and support you. But at the end of the day, you did what you did. You lied on your background check. You are a crack smoker. You disposed of your weapon illegally behind the school or whatever in Wilmington. So your mother being there is not going to make those facts any different.
That's exactly what they said, David. None of that matters. Pointing at the Biden family, at the First Lady, who was here almost every day, took a whirlwind trip to France to join the president for the D-Day commemorations, and came right back to be with her son. And yet it was part of the closing argument of prosecutors there. Prosecutors saying no one is above the law, no matter what their name is, no matter who is in court.
Exactly right on point, 100%. Now, let's recap. Guilty, count 1, false statement in purchase of a firearm. Count 2, false statement related to information required to be kept by a federal firearms licensed dealer. Count 3, possession of a firearm by a person who is an unlawful user of or addicted to a controlled substance. So there you have it right there. The crack smoker, the illegal gun handler, has been convicted, faces up to 25 years in the penitentiary. He could get pardoned by his father, although his father said he's not going to pardon him. That still could happen. And as far as the sentencing, I mean, I think at a certain point there's guidelines when you're talking about gun charges. I mean, I don't know what it is, on this level, but I know back in Virginia, you get caught with an illegal weapon, that's 5 years mandatory minimum. At least that's the way it was back when I was still there. 5 years off the rip. I know guys that got locked up like that, 5 years. Now, if you did anything else on top of that, then they're going to add it. But as I close, I want to say this. Shout out to Hunter Biden getting locked up for what any of us would get locked up for. Now, we still need to go look at this whole thing with the 10 for the big guy, these corrupt overseas business deals. But you know how the presidents are. It's a little bit different. If you are anybody other than Donald Trump, you're pretty much bulletproof, unfortunately, when it comes to the legal system. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on what's happening here? Do you think that this was the right thing to do, wrong thing to do, unconstitutional? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. What was done here was correct, because if there's a law, whether we like it or not, everyone must be punished under it the same. It can't be special privileges given to certain people, because even if they gave him a certain privilege here, that wouldn't be extended to us, as I was talking about earlier. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.